Have you ever wondered how blood cancers such as leukemia, lymphoma or myeloma develop? Here we hope to give you an overview of what's known about how the different kinds of blood cancers develop. So to really understand how blood cancers develop, we must first of all understand what kinds of cells make up normal blood and how these are made. So there are three main kinds of blood cells: red cells, white cells and platelets. The main job of red blood cells is to pick up oxygen in the lungs and transport it around the body, and also pick up the waste carbon dioxide and bring it back to the lungs. Red cells are flat and disc-shaped, and when they carry oxygen, they are bright red in colour. Platelets are small cells that become sticky when activated, so that when a blood vessel is injured and bleeding starts, the platelets join together to make a sort of a web called a clot, which stops blood leaking out of the blood vessel. White blood cells, instead, are basically a defence army. They are mobilised into action when bacteria or viruses invade our bodies, or when a rogue or abnormal cell arises. They are a key part of our immune system, and their main job is to fight infection and eliminate any abnormal cells. There are different kinds of white blood cells, and they act in different ways to keep us free from infection and cancer. For example, B cells don't attack bacteria directly, but instead make antibodies. The antibodies zero in on the bacteria, lighting it up so it's seen by the T cells, which then destroy the bacteria. So how do we make blood cells then? Well, firstly, they're made in the bone marrow, which is a soft, spongy material found inside bones such as the upper arm bone and the thigh bone. The scientific name for making blood cells is called hematopoiesis, and it starts with blood stem cells, which are essentially a sort of a master cell that can give rise to all the different kinds of blood cells. In the first step of blood production, the blood stem cell can become either a myeloid stem cell or a lymphoid stem cell. Myeloid stem cells can develop into immature myeloid cells, which are also called blasts, and these eventually become white blood cells called granulocytes and monocytes. Red cells and platelets also develop from myeloid stem cells. The lymphoid stem cell instead can mature or develop into white blood cells called T cells, B cells and natural killer cells. During the earlier stages in blood cell development, each different type of cell can keep dividing and multiplying, thereby generating all the blood cells we require. Blood cell generation is happening all the time in your body, and millions of blood cells are produced every second. However, every time a cell divides in two, it needs to make a copy of all its genetic material for the daughter cell. This involves faithfully copying 3 billion letters, which is a huge challenge. If mistakes are made, it results in mutations, which give rise to abnormal or cancerous cells. So we've seen how normal blood cells develop, and we now know that blood cancers can develop when mutations occur at any of the stages in blood cell development. These mutations result in abnormal cells that don't work properly and fail to fight off infections. And they also grow out of control, rapidly multiplying and crowding out the normal cells. The type of blood cancer a person has generally depends where in the blood development pathway the mutation has occurred. For example, acute lymphoblastic leukemia develops when mutations occur here. Chronic myeloid leukemia here and here. Acute myeloid leukemia here and here. B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia here. T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia here. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma here. T-cell chronic lymphocytic leukemia here. And multiple myeloma here. So, in summary, we produce millions of blood cells every second, and the high rate of cell division and maturation required for this can result in mutations occurring in the genetic material. These mutations cause abnormal cancerous cells to be produced. These cancer cells don't work properly, and they also crowd out any normal blood cells, preventing them from doing their jobs, and thus leading to many of the symptoms that we associate with blood cancers.